March 31st, 2021, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, DCash, went live in several islands in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. While DCash is a virtual currency, it has several distinguishing features that makes it different from all others and has already earned it at least one award. Today we have with us Ms. Sharmyn Powell. She is a certified accountant, the chairperson of the ECCB FinTech Working Group, and Chief Risk Officer. And for the purposes of our discussion, Ms. Powell is also the project lead of the ECCB's DCash, and so she is the perfect authority to let us know all about DCash. Welcome to Good Morning SKN, Ms. Powell. How are you doing?
You?
All right, we're going to get right into this interview. We're talking about DCash, and for those of us who don't know, what is DCash and where can it be used?
So DCash is a digital version of our EC currency. So we know about physical notes and coins that we currently have, and DCash is simply a digital form of that currency. It can be used currently in 7 of our 8 ECCU countries. We have launched in March 2021 in 4 of our countries, being Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. And subsequently, we launched in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and most recently in Dominica and Montserrat. We are set to launch in Anguilla later this year.
So can you tell us how were the pilot countries chosen?
Well, initially, when we thought about issuing a digital currency and having the pilot being done, what we did, we sent out to all the countries in terms of interest from the financial institutions in particular, because they are key in this project. They're the ones through which we issue DCash. So initially, the pilot countries were chosen based on the interest indicated by the financial institutions. That's how the first 4 countries were chosen. However, as we went through the pilot, the development stages, and with the onset of the pandemic, we recognized it was important to have DCash across all our 8 countries for the pilot purposes, so that would assist when we go to the commercial deployment of DCash. So initially it was based on the interest shown, but ultimately we determined it was important for all of our 8 countries to have exposure to DCash during the pilot phase.
Continuing on from that question, first, what are the advantages of using DCash, and are there any disadvantages?
DCash is a faster, safer, and cheaper payment method. So in terms of faster, currently, and this is one of our motivations for DCash, we have noted some frictions in our current payment system where persons aren't able to enjoy the full benefits of the financial services offered by financial institutions for one reason or another. For example, the cost of doing financial transactions is sometimes prohibitive. Sometimes you have a wire transfer costed up to $75, which doesn't make it economical to do it. Also, the speed of transactions, sometimes it takes 3 to 5 days for payments to clear, whether it's a check payment or even a wire transfer. And there are other frictions. Persons aren't able to open bank accounts because of certain requirements that they're not able to meet. So we wanted to address these frictions that currently exist in the financial system. So it is a faster method. It is safer when compared to physical cash, because you have with physical cash is always the issue of probably being robbed. But with digital cash, DCash, because it's a digital version of the currency, there is not that concern. There is no physical assets to be stolen, as it were. And the payments are done in 3 to 5 seconds. And it is cheaper because we don't have any costs for using DCash during the pilot. And even though the question may have been raised in some instances in terms of what happens post-pilot, because of the fact that the ECCB has borne the full cost of the infrastructure for DCash. And normally when you have financial institutions having fees and charges, it's related to costs that they have to recoup. But the ECCB has borne this charge. So we expect that post-pilot, even if there is some fee attached to DCash, it will be significantly lower than any cost that currently exists for other payment systems. So it's faster, it's safer, it's cheaper. And for persons, it's a good financial management tool, because when compared to physical cash, sometimes we have physical cash, we spend the cash and we can't really reconcile where we spend the money, how we spend the money. with DCash, there's a history of all your transactions within your digital wallet, the application. And so you can actually go back and see exactly how your money was spent. You can see all the transactions. This is good for managing personal finances as well as for small businesses, informal sector, where we see a number of small business owners who have thriving businesses, but they don't maintain proper financial records. So they can't really attest to that success. And so having DCash provides an opportunity to be able to, see what your how your finances are going, so your business is doing, and it can actually assist if for small businesses who need to access finance, where sometimes they are unable to access the finance because of the fact that they have no financial records. So these are some of the advantages of using DCash. Another real example is, for example, where you may be somewhere you need cash fast. You can ask somebody who has a DCash wallet to send you money, and you can get it in 3 to 5 seconds. You don't have to wait to go to an ATM or have somebody wire funds to you. You can actually have someone send funds to you instantly if needs be.
I mean, it sounds all good.
Yes. It's a very exciting, venture that we have. And it's really to improve the financial system, the payment system within the ECCU, and to ensure that all our citizens have access to the digital space. Because right now, everything is going digital. The ECCU is now embarking on a digital transformation project. And one key aspect of that transformation is to have a proper digital payment platform that is accessible to all. And so that's one of our motivations as well, payment system efficiency.
Okay, wonderful. So while the rollout of DCash was planned for some time, like right now we would like to hope that it's the end of the pandemic, but we might just be in the middle. How has that affected the rollout?
It has impacted the rollout. Firstly, it delayed the actual launch of DCash because initially we intended to launch DCash in 2020. However, with the onset of pandemic in March of 2020, it significantly impacted our ability to do our interactions with the financial institutions. We had certain road shows planned. So the development and testing process was protracted because of the pandemic, and also a number of our marketing initiatives, because we had limited movement in a number of our countries because of lockdowns and restricted movements, that significantly delayed the actual launch of DCash. And even since then, within some of the countries that we've actually launched in, we still have a challenge in terms of where we had surges in cases and they had limited movement. That again affected our marketing campaign. So the pandemic has in fact caused some delays, but it has actually helped as well in that it allowed us some time to actually improve the product. So for example, we have added an e-commerce functionality within DCash, and that e-commerce functionality allows businesses to add DCash as a payment option on the online platform. So whereas you currently have debit cards and credit cards, you can now add DCash as a payment option. So persons who don't have a debit card or who don't have a credit card can still benefit from remote payments for those businesses that have online payment platforms, and they can add DCash as an option. So it allowed us to enhance the product, even though we had the delay. So it had its advantages and disadvantages.
Right. At this point in time, are there any statistics to show exactly how DCash is being used?
Well, we have some statistics, which I don't have all the details currently, but I can tell you we have over 3,000 subscribers across the ECCU where we've launched, and that number we expect to continue to grow. And we have over 100 merchants. We will be launching a robust marketing campaign shortly, and that will actually expand our network. One of the things that we have recognized throughout this process is that DCash relies heavily on having a robust merchant network, because the reality is that once you have DCash in your wallet, you need to be able to spend it. And so what our intention is to expand our merchant network, and our initial target for merchants are those merchants who persons use regularly. So your supermarkets, gas stations, bakeries, pharmacies, utility companies, because that's where persons spend their disposable income. So we will be expanding our merchant base and also simultaneously expanding our customer base, so both our customers and our merchants can enjoy the benefits of DCash.
All right, well, this sounds exciting. It sounds fast, it sounds convenient, it sounds safe. So how can one get access to using DCash? How can we sign up?
There are two ways to access DCash. We have a register-based wallet, which is through your financial institution, and a value-based wallet. So the registered-based wallet are for those persons who have existing relationships with one of the participating financial institutions. And on the DCash website, dcashec.com, it gives you a list of all the financial institutions across all the countries that are participating in the pilots. Once you have your financial institution is participating, you download the app from the App Store, whether it's the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and you can sign up with a code. Now, the code is provided by your financial institution. So you can, if you don't get a code, because some financial institutions actually reach out to their customers, inviting them to join, but you can actually request a code through the app. And once you receive that code, you do the application via the app. So it asks for some basic information like name, email address, contact information, and your account number. That information is transmitted to your financial institution via the app. And once they receive that information, they would use your account number to validate you against the KYC, the know your customer information that they currently have on file for you. They will review your application and then they will approve your wallet. Now that process, the outer time for that is about 48 hours. So within 2 days, your wallet is approved. Once your wallet is approved, you can then transfer funds from your account at that financial institution to your wallet. So you can send a secure message to your bank and say, okay, I need to transfer funds from the account number noted in the application to my DCash wallet. And then you can spend. So that's for those persons who have accounts at the financial institutions that participated in the pilot. Now we have persons who don't have accounts at any financial institution, or their financial institution may not be participating at this time. Those we have a value-based wallet, and those value-based wallets are administered by agencies. So we have approved institutions, non-bank financial institutions that provide an agency function. The application process is similar, except that you don't have to provide an account number, and the KYC information is less. So you provide your name, telephone number, email address, the contact information, and that goes to the agency. This is all done within the app as well. It goes to the agency and they approve your wallet. Now, the difference between the value-based wallet and the registered-based wallet is that because you don't have a bank account for the value-based, you have to take physical cash to the agency or to a merchant that does DCash exchange and exchange physical cash for DCash. So you go to a merchant teller or an agency, you take $200 ECCash, for example, and they would just take that cash and they would add the funds to your wallet. So that's the major difference, because there's accounts to transfer funds to and from. You can just take physical cash and have the agency or the agent, or the merchant teller to exchange your cash for DCash. And then you can start spending. But the use of the wallet, whether it's registered based or value based, is exactly the same. You go to a merchant who accepts DCash, you get your goods and services, and you pay with DCash.